So here we have a design for a candelabrum attributed to the 16th century Italian artist Marco Marchetti. It has come into the conservation studio to be cleaned, repaired, mounted and then framed, ready for display. Large bronze candelabrums like this were common in churches, although the figuration of this design is not religious. The extravagant design is entirely unsymmetrical, presumably offering choices of decoration to the patron. It has been drawn on 3 sheets of handmade paper adhered together and then laid onto a secondary support. It was then folded to fit into an album, which has caused further damage. So when the candelabrum came into the studio, the first thing really to do with an object such as that is to surface clean it, and that's to remove any loose dirt and any sort of deeper ground in dirt. And the way we would do that is firstly lightly brush with a big kind of mop brush, and then use what we call a smoke sponge. It's a cellular sponge, and it has the ability of holding dirt, and it doesn't release it, so that you know once it's sort of caught in the sponge, it's not going to be placed back into the drawing. So as you can see, this was my first clean with everything, so you can see quite a lot of dirt has come off, and so I was quite pleased with that. And then once I was satisfied with that, I then grated just normal white eraser, so it's very, very fine. And then you sprinkle that all over the area that you need, and you just gently rub it, and that will then bring up the slightly deeper ground in dirt. And here, just to show you really, this was my first surface cleaning with the grated eraser. And once that was done, I then did it again with a finer grain, and it still was coming off until you get to it, so there's no real dirt. And this is really the colour it went on. So as you can see, we've removed a few centuries of dirt there. And that's really the first start with a drawing such as this. What I've done here is I've mapped out the drawing. We've got fibre tip on Melanex, and as you can see, I've just followed the contours, and it just allows you to really get to know your object. So I'm looking here now, and you can see all the stress really down on the bottom here. I can see what the separate pages, and I can see the actual object here, which isn't the whole of this, it's just like in here, and where it's been pasted solidly down. And because you're going around it, literally looking, you know, just a hand's breadth away, you really kind of connect to it. And you can see its needs, and you can see the bits that are the most vulnerable. And it just sort of settles it really in your mind. But you notice other things. So when this was put onto this secondary support, this is a George III wash mount, but there are pinholes in here, and this sort of shows that maybe at some point somebody actually pinned it up and looked at it. It just tells you a little bit more the history and what it's actually gone through. And it's very, very useful really, just as a tool to get to see really what you're working with. On this drawing, the most vulnerable area is this central fold. And you can see when we just lift it up like this, we've got several layers here that we have to realign. So we have the actual drawing, which has completely come apart. And really what's holding that together is parts of the secondary support. In order to get those realigned, it's sort of sitting like this at the moment. We need to sort of humidify it to add moisture back into the fibres to relax them so that they'll sort of come back, and then we can just join them together gently. So now I'm just humidifying areas to try to relax the fibres, to see if they just want to unfold of their own will, so you're not forcing anything. It's tricky because you're basically trying to undo something that's been in this position for a few hundred years. So you're expecting a lot. Hopefully, paper being paper, it will respond. So now that this has been folded down, we're just going to let it relax a little bit more, and then we'll put some paste in there so that it will be held permanently. But it's really sort of showing it where it needs to be, really.